I did end up watching Hard Eight last night too. I watched like 4 or 5 movies last night as I was carving my pumpkin.
Oh, nice. I'm curious about how your soup is going to turn out. Because typically there's a difference between carving pumpkins and like food pumpkins. Like if you go to grocery stores, sometimes there are like much smaller pumpkins that are like pumpkins for baking.
Gotcha.
But I think the way that like the carving pumpkins work, I don't know. I feel like I've heard that they're like tough and bitter. So I'm just curious.
Okay.
It might be really good.
I don't know. I just Googled it to see if like it was even
possible
a thing, and it had it as a thing. I'm gonna like add a bunch of shit to it to hopefully
Yeah.
pep it up, but yeah,
give it some seasoning.
Yeah.
But you said that it sounds really good. I like roasting squash. It's like one of my favorite things. Getting it super tender in the oven.
Like butternut squash or
yeah.
That's yes, me too. Yeah, it's one of the great baking smells. But can be a pain in the fucking ass to make though. Yeah. Wow. Oh yeah, and then when you said chili, it was like the opposite. 'Cause like, I really want some chili now.
Yeah. It's pretty easy. I mean, we really just have to like cook the meat and the peppers, and then we get like some Roma tomatoes and sweat them down and then mash them, and then just throw all that shit in a crock pot with like kidney beans, black beans, corn, all that kind of shit, and then we just let it go for like the whole day.
We had
some cornbread with that cast iron.
Gotta. We had I mean, we still have, but Kalia's vegetarian. We haven't like made it since. But also mostly just because we, chili's a cold month food. But a like instant pot, crack white chicken chili. Thing. Oh, so fucking
white
good.
Chicken chili rules.
Yeah, that's like, I might have said this before, but that like is arguably like my, if I had to like pick a favorite like dish food thing, it might be white chicken chili.
Yeah,
but it's like,
and we made like potato soup the other day that is also like debilitating.
Yeah,
just like a shitload of like heavy whipping cream, sour cream, cheese, like all this kind of shit. We cook the onions and garlic down in like bacon fat. So it's like I had like 2 bowls, and I do it to myself every single time. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go back for a second one.
That soup belly where you're like gonna explode.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Creosote from Monty Python's Meaning of Life.
Yeah, I'm the same way when it comes to like especially chili. But yeah, that crack white chicken chili that we have, it takes 2 like blocks of like Philadelphia cream cheese.
Yeah.
So you put the one in and you're like, ooh, that's a lot of cream cheese, and then you got to put another one in.
Yeah,
but then it melts down and all goes together, and you're like, okay.
No. This is good.
Yeah.
There's when I was still on TikTok, there was a guy who's like his whole shtick was watching like life hack recipes like made by white ladies in giant kitchens, and it was like he watched the video. He's like, I'm gonna watch this video up until the point where they put like 4 blocks of cream cheese in a recipe, and like it's always just like put dry macaroni noodles in an Instant Pot, and then cheese, and then like salt and pepper and garlic, and like and then there'd always be something crazy like throw ketchup in there, just something that's like and then sure enough, the whole thing, like 4 sticks of cream cheese would go in, and be like, yep, all right, end of the video.
That makes me think of, have you ever seen those? I might have shared them to one of our group chats, but I've seen them on they're like TikTok videos where they're like they're like parodies of those kind of like food hack things where it's like I saw one where it was like a waffle skillet, like a waffle iron, I mean.
Oh no.
And they just like dumped sprinkles, like completely covered it in sprinkles, and then like cracked like 3 eggs on it.
Oh.
And then they close it and they open it and it's just like this black bubbling mess. And then they crack another egg on it after that. Those things fucking kill me.
Oh. Yeah, it is not hard to go on YouTube. There's like a plethora of bad food videos. Not ironic either. Like,
yeah.
Just it paints a very sad picture sometimes of just like some dude in his like shitty little apartment kitchen, but he's like trying to do the YouTuber thing, like talking to the camera. All right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna take a, and it's just like using like just shitty utensils and like,
yeah.
There's something about like the way that they light it, and it might not even be intentional, but it's always like the worst possible lighting to make the food just look shiny and like just the worst possible way it could look.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually follow a YouTuber. The channel is called How to Cook That.
Okay.
But like her whole channel is, well, she does other stuff sometimes, but I think what like she's most popular for, or at least what I watch, is she like that's like her main thing is she like debunks like cooking hacks. So she'll like focus on like a certain set of cook hack videos, and then she'll be like, no, this is bad because of this, or like this is how it should actually be made, and blah blah blah. And it's pretty interesting,
right? That almost sounds like binging with Babish, who will take like recipes from like TV shows and then try to make them. Like, I know he's done a few from It's Always Sunny. Like he's done milk steak, how they do it on the show, and then he's like, okay, here's how you will actually do it if you wanted to try to make some type of recipe like this.
That's right. I think I've seen his. He does sloppy steaks too, which is
does he?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And he like does it like, yeah, the way that he like does it just like a cooking video, but it's literally just a steak with water on it. Welcome back, people, to There Will Be Duds. This is episode 71, and I am your co-host, TJ, aka J Spot Jack Cheese, and with me as always,
I am Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch.
And as always, we watched a movie. That movie being a movie called Hard 8 from 1996. It's directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, the debut feature film from Paul Thomas Anderson. And it follows a veteran gambler / swindler, Sidney, played by Philip Baker Hall. He takes on John, played by John C. Reilly, as a sort of protege, and it kind of follows them for a while. John starts a thing with a prostitute named Clementine, played by Gwenyth Paltrow. I don't usually like go into like that this much. I don't know. I'm fucking myself up. I was on a roll and now I'm fucking myself up. And then
they get into some trouble.
Yeah, they get into some trouble, and Sydney's gotta kind of help them sort it out. And then I help them sort it out.
I think it's a good overarching description of what happens in the movie.
Yeah.
I think for PTA's overall catalog, I think it is the one that is like the lightest on plot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to go? Because like this is one of mine that was pulled from the cup. I don't know if you want me to like kind of.
I was gonna say I think you should, because first for the show for me, I did not take a single note on this movie.
Okay.
I wrote a couple down at the end because I'm OCD, and
sure,
I was like, I have to have notes for some movies, but it's just little things.
Okay.
Yeah, you take it away.
I was curious thinking about like what your read on this was gonna be, I was kind of leaning more towards I don't think you're gonna like it very much, which I'm guessing that's where it went. Which this could be a very interesting conversation.
Okay.
I mean, typically for me, I have to watch PTA movies like a couple times to like really sink my teeth into it. But overall, I had a fairly positive experience. I'm not trying to go. I feel like I'm going into my wrap up, but
I mean, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing to talk about, but yeah.
I think a lot of like his flourishes are there, and
Yeah.
I think the fact that he's 24 years old while he's making this is crazy. With like to have that tight of a control of the camera and like being able to do all that kind of shit. It was pretty impressive to me. I guess I'm curious, what about it you didn't like?
It was. I don't know. It like I was like halfway through it, and it was just it was one of those nothing movies to me, where like
Okay.
I'll say this: I don't think it was a bad movie. You know.
Sure.
Again, and like you said, like for being a first movie, yeah. Good control. I like watching Barking Dogs or Duel, those debut from the respective directors. I felt like I could see a lot more of them in those movies, and I really liked. I mean, I also liked those movies for other reasons too, but I really liked seeing that because that's why I like watching these debut movies. It's neat seeing the director that they'll become, and I didn't really see that much with this, other than like, okay, yeah, he knows how to compose shots, but that was kind of it.
Sure.
I thought the characters were pretty flat. I thought the story was pretty empty. I don't know. I didn't connect with anybody in particular.
Yeah.
The only but like I will say, absolute favorite scene of the movie. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah. Yep. No, that was one of my notes, was that Philip Seymour Hoffman just shows up, steals the show, and then rides off into the sunset.
Yeah. I loved that scene.
There we go. It's me and you. You know what I'm saying? For fucking 100. Party! 100. Me and you, big time. Me and you. You can buy yourself another suit with this roll, baby. 44. Fucking 44, big time. 2,000. 2,000, 100. 100. 2,000. 2,000, 100. 100. 2,000.
He's like, come on, old timer, Scooby Dooby Yabbity Doo. Like, I wonder how much of that was PTA like writing it, and how much of it was just he's like, all right, Phil, you're just kind of a dickhead, but you're silly and zany too. And Philip Seymour Hoffman was like, all right, yeah, I got this, and he just starts like scatting at him. He's like, all right, old timer, you gonna do? What are you gonna yabbity do? The first thing I noticed was that. It's very strange. He repeated something in Boogie Nights from this movie. The music at the very opening, it's kind of this very menacing, like kind of like two notes kind of playing back and forth. It happens again in the scene when Sydney first takes Clementine into like the hotel, and she's like sitting there waiting and wondering if he's like gonna try and like pay for sex. But it's the same music that plays in like the scene in Boogie Nights when it's like one of those classic PTA scenes where like everybody, it's like you see everybody's story and how they intersect at the same time. It's the scene where Don Cheadle is like at the donut shop, and like that gets stuck up, and simultaneously Dirk Diggler is like strapped for cash, so he's in a parking lot jerking off in front of a guy in a truck. And so the first thing I know is like, oh, this is the Dirk Diggler jerking off music. Cool. All right.
Cool.
But the character of John, played by John C. Reilly, is another like very like, I'd like to think that after this movie his character goes off and becomes Reed Rothschild from Boogie Nights, because same type of characterization where he's just like, if you fuck with me, I know 3 types of karate. Like, that's a very
regular
like his
karate.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's cool that even after like he becomes Sydney's protege, he still he dresses better and he dresses snappier, but he's still just kind of a dumb guy. In like the way that he like responds to things and like acts. He's like
he was very like, I don't know why, but it was making me think of like Lenny from Mice and Men.
Oh, Mice and Men.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I can just rush through my notes. I mean, this can be, if you want to talk about post chat, we can do that too. Just 'cause,
I mean, no, if you, because I mean, I feel like I dominate a lot of the conversations anyway. So if you want to talk about this movie,
I need practice for this, like being able to talk more instead of What else do we got? Oh, I felt very seen in the scene when he's explaining how he gets free pay-per-view in his hotel room, because the number of times I've been in a situation where like I explain AV stuff to like a disinterested woman is like it's happened a lot to me. So
yeah, that was kind of.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. It was a Letterboxd review that I read from Matt Chrisman from Chapo that I thought was interesting, because after I finished this, I kind of went on Letterboxd and looked at like what the general consensus was for this movie, and a lot of it's very positive. But his review was interesting. Because he kind of talks about he's like, something happened to PTA during There Will Be Blood. Because up until that point, a lot of his movies are very much about like wayward men looking for father figures. And then like, I think after There Will Be Blood, it's like, he describes it as like The Master being like this turning point where he's like, Freddie Quell from The Master is like an old Paul Thomas Anderson character stuck in a new Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Which I thought was interesting, because like those themes are very present in like the first 3 or 4 of his movies. Like you think Dirk Diggler is looking for a father figure in Burt Reynolds. Magnolia, it's like Tom Cruise and his father, literal father, who's like on his deathbed. Punch Drunk Love, that's kind of different. That's kind of the outlier.
Yeah.
But then it's like with There Will Be Blood, you got HW, who doesn't have a real father, and then ultimately like Daniel Plainview like rejects him outright. And it's like, that's, I think that's like the big thing that I picked up on this movie. And I will say it was pretty unsubtle with that sort of, like, there's literally a line where Philip Baker Hall is like, he's like, yeah, I have 2 kids. I have a daughter and a son. And it's like, oh, I wonder who these surrogate daughter and sons are.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, all right, that was a little on the nose. I think the most affecting scene for me, it was it was a minor scene, but it was after they deal with the guy that was like handcuffed to the bed. So they got this shotgun wedding, they get it, in Vegas or Reno, I think is where most of it takes place. And they've got this, and there's like some sort of like, because Gwyneth Paltrow's character is still, moonlighting as a prostitute while she's like working at the casino, and they've got this guy handcuffed to the bed, and Sydney has to come in and basically play cleanup. And at the very end of that scene, like as he sends them away to like Niagara Falls, I think is where they're going, he hands him a tape, and he's like, we got married, and like, here's the tape if you want to watch it. And I think the scene of him just sitting there like alone in his room watching the tape, and it's like, okay, like, that he doesn't have a good relationship with his biological son and daughter, and he's not in their life. And I just thought that was really sad that even after this, sorry, I'm burping because of coffee. Like he had to watch all that shit from a distance.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't even be there for them for like that special moment, and he had to like sit alone. Like he's like his whole character is meant to be like alone.
Yeah.
What else? We had some PTA Easter eggs. Okay. Robert Ridgely was in it, who plays the Colonel in Boogie Nights. He's the one that ends up being like a pedophile, and he's in jail.
Yeah. Who is he in this one?
He was like one of the Kino guys. He didn't have.
Oh.
He was the one who's like walking around to tables, and he's like, oh, I see you guys have found something special tonight. Like I think he's famous for like being like a voice actor. Like he was very prominent in the 50s and 60s.
Okay.
And then there's like another reference. I think Samuel L. Jackson, once he kind of figures out what Philip Baker Hall.
I did
like,
notice he was in the movie. Yeah.
Because he's like, I know what you did in Atlantic City, and then he lists off some like older sounding like Italian like gangster guys, and he says, oh yeah, I know Paul Zabadabuti, and then he's like, yeah, and Jimmy Gator is the What Do Kids Know host in Magnolia, played by Philip Baker Hall.
Oh yeah,
like the quiz show. The character's name is Jimmy Gator.
I must have totally missed that, because I would have recognized that name for sure, because it's just like a unique name, I guess.
Yeah. And then kind of near the end, I said, yeah, I guess John kind of broke even. He started out without a father,
yeah,
and he kind of ended without a father. But he's got a wife, so maybe he did a little bit better.
Well, they're not like, because didn't it end with he didn't like lose him, right? Because I thought the end was like they kind of reconciled, and he's like, yeah, I'll see you later.
Yeah, I guess I took that more of like he thought about it after Samuel L. Jackson reminded him that he's like, yeah, you killed his dad. And like he took care, I don't know.
So Sydney was saying like, I should stay out of their lives kind of thing.
I think that's kind of the read that I had, that like his character is just someone who, like, no matter who he's around, he probably ends up destroying it. And so he's like, all right, I put these two people together, like, and at the very least, like, I took care of this other guy who could expose me, and like at the very least they have a positive like association with him, and like I think that's like probably as best as he can get.
Yeah,
that was my read at the very least.
Okay. I guess I thought that. Yeah, I could see that. I think my default is just optimism, even when it like. That's why I like ambiguous endings. Well, I mean, like kind of like this, where like you can say that, so then you can be like, yeah, that's a good ending because it's not giving you like a cheesy, sappy thing. But then in my head, I can be like, but they, they still see each other and stuff. So in my head, I can have the sappy ending, and still the ending is like, withholding that or whatever of the actual movie. Did they ever say why he killed his father?
I feel like there was like I think it was like one or two lines that sort of referenced it. I think it was vague. I think maybe his father was like a son of a bitch or something, or gambling debts or something. I see Philip Baker Hall, or I see Sydney as more of like a well, I was going to reference the Fox from Pulp Fiction, but you haven't seen that. Harvey Keitel's character. He's kind of like a cleanup guy. Yeah, and like I guess a little bit of like, Mike from like Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad. Obviously not as fleshed out as Mike. Yeah. But like that he's sort of like I'm from a different town and I have a reputation and I'm trying to like, clean it up a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Yeah, he did seem like some kind of enforcer or something like that. But, But they just like, kind of was light on that, but yeah.
And it was nice to see him in a more leading role, because I usually see Philip Baker Hall as like just kind of a character actor that shows up in movies, and then because like I love him in Boogie Nights and Magnolia. He's more of a main character in Magnolia. Like his character has more of like an attachment to the other threads. Yeah. I think Zodiac. I liked him in Zodiac quite a bit as like the handwriting expert guy.
Yeah,
but it was nice to see him have more. Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's yeah. I also like seeing him as it's always cool seeing, like Harry Dean Stanton is in Paris, Texas. He's another one who's like usually just a side character or whatever. It's cool to see them like really flex their acting chops or whatever. And I did like his performance. Like it's and a lot of times he does just kind of have the same sort of tone, same cadence. He's just like, I just have kind of a gruff old man voice. But having him be the lead, I feel like I kind of got to like appreciate his acting ability more, because like I think his kind of acting that like reserved, like kind of almost monotone, it really worked for this character because he is, reserved, and like I like that he was able to like I still got the emotion that he was like conveying while being very stoic and closed or whatever.
And he did kind of break out of that a few times where like he actually got kind of pissed and was like he had more or like the scene in like the hotel room when like they're trying to get, and also it's like $300. Why are you like come on.
Yeah, I think he even has like a moment where he's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like $300.
Yeah.
How much money?
$300?
You're holding this guy hostage for $300?
I also think I like something about like early 2000s, mid 90s Gwenyth Paltrow. Some of like my favorite movies with her in it are from that time period. I don't know. I think when she's like crying, she just has a very sympathetic face to me. Like I'm thinking mostly like Seven and like the Royal Tenenbaums.
Seeing her crying.
Yeah, you taking notes over there?
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
and I don't know.
Like IRL Gwenyth Paltrow, it would be nice to see suffer, but
yeah. Yeah, post Goop Gwenyth is a less sympathetic figure to me.
Yeah, but I kind of do agree. There's like a moment in particular where I was like, yeah, I did used to like her, but then after, I don't know. I just, it's hard for me to enjoy her in much now just because of who she is now. But there's the moment where they're like, she's in the bar or at the diner with Sydney, and there's like a clatter behind her. And it's like a rack focus back to him and then back to her. And she just has like a look on her face. And I was like, oh, I don't know. That was like the moment where I was like, yeah, okay. All right. 90s Gwenyth Paltrow's all right.
Yeah. I'm like, I really enjoy her character in Seven. Like there's like a really good scene when it's like Morgan Freeman and her talking in the diner when she like tells him that she's pregnant. And like he tells his story about how like he went through a similar experience and he like convinced his wife to have an abortion, and he's like, if you decide to keep it, and he's like, you spoil that kid, and she breaks, and for some like it gets me. Same with like Royal Tenenbaums when she's like laying in bed with Richie and she's like, you're not gonna do it again, are you? And he's like, probably not. And like same thing. It gets me for some reason, and so I liked her in this movie.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen a lot of other movies that she's been in, like other than like this era.
I like the Avengers.
Marvel yeah.
Yeah. I guess
like,
I'm looking at her movie. I think that's pretty much it for me too. It's like the Marvel movies, and then like basically all the ones that you just named. And Shallow Hal, I used to watch that movie a lot.
Is she the lead in Shallow Hal? Like, is she like the fat girl in the skinny body?
Yeah.
I've never seen Shallow Hal. Would that be a dud or would that be a normal movie?
I don't know. I feel like now it's a lot more contentious because like people are more I guess, I don't know if the word's like aware of, like, you can't make a movie that's all about like body, like obese people being unattractive and stuff like that.
Yeah, is this like body shaming the movie?
But I feel like at the time, it was like, I don't think it was like a dud. No, I think it was like an average, I would say.
Yeah.
I just liked it because Jack Black and I was a little kid, you know.
You're like, oh yeah, no, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus, yeah. She went from Royal Tenenbaums to Shallow Hal.
Nice. Oh, I've seen Emma too. She's good in Emma as well. She's the lead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I only really like 3 or 4 Gwenyth Paltrow movies. I think that's like
that's
the
okay.
cap.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson, it felt like I feel like in that period of time, people saw Pulp Fiction and said, "This is the role you're going to do forever."
Yeah. I feel like
because
people
it was like
still
Pulp,
want that.
it was like Pulp Fiction, this, and then I guess to a lesser extent, Jackie Brown. Yeah, I feel like he's a little more interesting in Jackie Brown than this movie, but it's like same kind of deal. I'm like a drug dealer or some sort of criminal, and I'm like a smart talking guy.
Yeah.
And then I get shot up in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think his character was so like,
it was a little one-dimensional.
yeah, one-dimensional, and then it's just like it felt like it like forced conflict at the end just to kind of have a kind of climax. It was just a little strange, and it was funny because like the first chunk of it, because I didn't or maybe I had seen his name. I don't know. I don't think I knew that he was in the movie, and I was like thinking like, oh, this seems like it's kind of pulling from it's like a film student's like, I just saw Pulp Fiction and I'm gonna make that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then Samuel L. Jackson showed up and I was like, because it did feel like that kind of like Tarantino-esque film student-y type thing.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah, I do not doubt that it is derivative of a lot of like noir style movies of the time. And like even watching it at the beginning, again, my experience was overall pretty positive just because I really like PTA and I like pretty much all of his movies. I don't know where this one would fit like on like the list. But you know, it did seem amateurish, especially in the dialogue. I did not believe for a second John C. Reilly's crying in the phone booth.
Oh.
it didn't seem real. It didn't feel earned. The sort of, it's like, oh, is he gonna tell him about his dad? Nope, actually, I love you, I'm your dad.
Yeah.
And it was like that felt pretty hokey. It didn't seem super believable to me. I was like, eh. But again, it's his first movie, so it's like I give him a little bit of credit. Just like being 24 years old and being able to like do that kind of stuff. It's like his weakest effort, and yet, you know, his first movie is probably better than a lot of other people's like first movie. So what do I know?
Yeah. What?
My cat did a big stretch.
Oh.
And now she's getting down. Okay.
I mean, I was just trying to think. I had it stuck in my head now that I'm trying to think. I would put this above Phantom Thread. But that's probably it.
Damn. You really don't like Phantom Thread.
Well, like I said, I didn't dislike this movie. You know, like, well,
okay.
Maybe, I don't know. Well, what I should say is, like, I don't think it was bad, is what I will say. I just, like, I just didn't get anything out of it, you know?
Okay. But what you got out of Phantom Thread was bad.
I mean, it was longer, so there's that.
True. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. At least there was some stuff, there wasn't any like crap shooting Philip Seymour Hoffman in Phantom Thread, so
Yeah,
there
that's
was
true.
some stuff to get out of this. Some very little things.
Okay.
And I guess we can just roll into wrap up.
Scores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. All right. I'll go. Shoot. I will say, overall, I had a pretty positive experience. Again, I'm glad that because this is like the only one of his that I hadn't seen up until this point. And I think if gun to my head, I think I prefer early PTA over, again, like that seemingly shift in the master. I think I like the early material more than the other material. Not that one's particularly better, it's just different, and I think I get more out of like the early material than the later ones. That being said, I really like the cinematography. Robert Elswit is nuts. He was a cinematographer, and you look at his career, and he did There Will Be Blood, he did Magnolia, he did Punch Drunk Love, he did Boogie Nights. Like, he's done a bunch of other stuff too, but he was like his guy for a while. I did want to note that like the final song is the most PTA thing of all time because it was John Bryan, Michael Penn, and Amy Mann, who up until Johnny Greenwood, those three are like his go-to people that are in every single movie. Like, I'm pretty sure John Bryan is in Boogie Nights as like the house band that plays during the porn awards.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think he's like actually in it. I feel like they could have done more with the Christmas time stuff too, because there were like a few references to it, and the song was called Christmas Time. I was like, I don't know, maybe that was like the whole father thing. He's Father Christmas. I don't know. For a movie that's called Hard 8, I'm feeling a pretty soft 7.
Okay. I wonder.
Or instead of a hard 8, I'm more of a 5+3.
Wait. So you're going with an
I
8?
guess that's a soft. No, I'll go 7. I'm a 4+3. I'm a soft 7.
Okay.
Or a 6+1. I don't know how that would break down.
I knew. Oh yeah, I guess
I don't know how craps works.
Yeah, you can't do a hard 7, right? I don't think. I don't think you can. Yeah, I wondered which one of us was gonna. I figured one of us was gonna reference the title in our score. Yeah, I guess mine's probably predictable if you've been hearing what I've been saying over and over again. I didn't think it was bad. I didn't get anything out of it. It's a 5. It's I don't really have much to add. I just didn't get much out of it other than like little moments here and there with certain Philip Seymour Hoffmans, and most notably. And then I could be like, yeah, it's well made, it looks nice. And that's why I was like, okay, I can't say it's bad. I can't go lower than 5 because like it's a well-made movie. I just personally wasn't vibing with it. So 5. So
yeah.
Man,
I bet Travis would have hated it.
Probably. I don't know. It's hard to say.
He probably thought it was pretentious.
I think I'm the one that doesn't like these like 90, because I was the low score for Heat too.
Okay.
I might be the one who's just not super into these. Like I've had my fill, I don't need any more.
90s noir crime comedy dramas.
Yeah, I guess something like that. All right. Speaking of soft things, here's an ad break. I don't know. Okay, but are we back?
Yeah, I'm thinking we're back.
All right. So, for you, so this will sound a little weird for you future November people, but yes, okay. Cut.
Yes.
I had a little movie marathon as I was carving my pumpkin. So I watched Heart 8, and I watched we started The Haunting, which I want to get back to, but Kalia fell asleep.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch that one with her. But then I watched The Black Phone. Bodies, and Hellraiser 4, and then I started Hellraiser 5 because as I was wrapping up my pumpkin at like 4 a.m. But then I was like, I should go to bed. And then I also watched Nope the other day too. So I binged a bunch of horror movies this week, and they're all like, except I'll tackle Hellraiser as a separate thing. But Black Phone is like high 6. I gave it a 6, but it's like a high 6.
Okay.
Really like Ethan Hawke in everything I see him in. He's good in that. There's some other people in that I like James Ransone plays his brother, Jeremy Davies.
The trailer for Black Phone made me think that I was like, oh, Ethan Hawke, what are you doing? Because it looked very much like a run-of-the-mill, just kind of like, almost like, is it Blumhouse? It is Blumhouse, isn't it?
Blumhouse, yeah.
I was like, this is just going to be another Blumhouse horror movie. And then I saw people giving it pretty good reviews, and from what I gathered, there's like some sort of twist in it that's pretty good, that it's more elevated than just like an average like Blumhouse cash-in kind of like bad horror movie that they're sort of known for.
Yeah, I would say so. I had the exact same experience. That's what I thought. It looked like a dumb, like, garbage throwaway movie, but yeah, I was getting good reviews. So, and I was like, Ethan Hawke, all right, that's all I need.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was solid. Like I said, it was close to a 7 for me. Just, I don't know, just under like
something about it. Just,
yeah. But yeah, worth a check as far as like newer horror movies. Pretty decent. It's written by Stephen King's son, so it feels very Stephen King-y. Like there's kids with maybe psychic abilities or that kind of adjacent stuff. Okay. And then Bodies is like a step up from that. It's like a high 7.
Nice.
Couldn't quite settle on an 8, but really close. Yeah, I thought it was really funny. I really liked most all the performances were great. I think you said this in yours too, but much like Suicide Squad, like good use of Pete Davidson. Like just the right amount.
Yeah, and he is that's a curtain call on Pete.
Yeah. I love the first guy to die in both movies. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But like I actually liked him in it. Like his part, like he was good. In Suicide Squad he was just fucking annoying, and I was like, yeah, die. But in this I was like, okay, yeah, he's I kind of like him in this. When he's talking to the one girl and he's like comparing himself to Lee Pace because he like knows that he's like way hotter than him or whatever, and he's like I just think that I look like I fuck. Like I fuck, and that's like the vibe that I want to put out. So,
yeah, that movie could have easily been like 40-year-old writing Gen Z language, and it's bad.
Oh yeah.
And I think some people do think that it's bad because of that. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's because they are very secretly like those types of people, and they don't want to be portrayed that way.
Yeah,
that's what I choose to believe. But I thought the way that they talked was very, it was like elevated to be satirical. Mm-hmm. Like the big fight, but when she's like, "You hate listen to her podcast."
That was great.
In the theater, because like Chloe and I went with a couple of other friends, and our other friends, they were like more meh about it.
Uh-huh.
I was dying in the theater at all of that shit.
That's awesome.
It's like, you're upper middle class. It's like,
Oh,
my
yeah,
parents
she, like,
teach at
uses it.
college or something. It's like, it's a
Yeah.
public school. Like that. Just, oh.
It's like the same usage as you play ball like a girl from The Sandlot. Like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
biggest
yeah.
insult.
It's treated with the same gravity. Like,
Yeah.
And then, of course, all four of us were losing our minds at Connor O'Malley showing up at the end.
Yeah,
Like-
I was so happy. I knew I had seen it beforehand. As I was watching the movie, 100% forgot he was in it. That he was like supposed to show up, and I was like, yeah, dude.
It's so good.
Yeah, that was great. I think other than my bias of just I love Lee Pace, but I think my favorite
Could use
was
more pace.
Yeah, could use more pace. Probably my favorite performance was Rachel Sennett,
Mm-hmm.
who I'd seen in she's in a movie from like the year before called Shiva Baby. She's
Yep.
like the main in that. Have you seen that one?
No, but I know it's like is it like a bat mitzvah movie? She's like Jewish in that,
It's
right?
it's
Something
a
like that.
Shiva. So it's
Oh.
it's kind of like a it's for like a funeral. It's I'm trying to think of
Oh, okay.
It's like where you have it at the house, and it's
Sure. Yeah.
regarding but yeah, she's really good in that. But yeah, she was really good in this. And yeah, good performances. Yeah, I love the writing. I love, like, I should say, like, the dialogue. But yeah, I don't know, like I said, there's just something keeping me from going a little higher. I could see it going up on a rewatch though, because it was really fun. Like, it's one that I could like easily have fun watching again.
Yeah. Do you know who Rachel Sennett's ex is?
Pete Davidson. I don't know, because he's dated like
Stavros Halkias.
everyone. Really?
They dated.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah, and apparently this is all conjecture, and I might cut it. I don't know why,
Okay.
but like apparently he wanted to like open the relationship,
Oh.
and like she didn't.
Oh.
And it's like, dude, you look like that, and she looks like that, and you're gonna fumble the ball that bad. Like,
Yeah,
why are you
yikes.
trying to be Polly when it's like, it's Rachel Sennett? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But anyway, celebrity gossip corner.
Yeah. Oh, I think I wish, like, because they have the twist at the end. Well, I mean, the reveal.
Yeah.
I'll say more reveal than a twist, but that, like, there was no killer. It was
Yeah.
Pete Davidson just like killed himself on
He's try-
accident.
he dies trying to do a TikTok and like
Yeah.
nicks his throat with a sword.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it was great that it was like, that was like a pretty good like haha moment, because he was trying to do the thing that Lee Pace did so effortlessly at the beginning, because he just like walks out and he just like one try, just boom, pops the thing off the champagne. He's like, who wants champagne? And he's like, Pete Davidson is like so envious of him the whole time. The fact that like he killed himself trying to do the same thing was great. But I don't know. I almost, I don't know, that this makes me sound like a average moviegoer, I guess, but I feel like I would have liked it more if there was a killer, I guess. I get I like why they did the twist and everything, and it's just them all just being idiots, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it could have been a little more interesting if they had a killer, had a killer person.
I feel like it's branded as a horror movie, but it's more of like a satirical social commentary first. And I think that's
For
also
sure.
like very par of the course with A24, with like some of their trailers being like misleading, or maybe not telling you what it's gonna be exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Also, from what I read, a lot of people like didn't like the trailer. I haven't actually seen it, but I think the trailer set it up to be more of like a horror movie, maybe. I don't know. People were like ragging on the trailer, and then they saw the movie and they were like, oh, this is nothing like the trailer, and this is good.
I think that's so weird, because I know I said this when you covered it, but like, I would not have seen this movie if I had not seen the trailer. It was like, to me, it was one of the most effective trailers in recent memory.
Really?
Because
yeah,
most
you
times,
did say that.
Because most times, I'll like hear a concept, or I'll see who's in a movie and I'll be like, yeah, I'll go see that, or no, I'm not gonna see that. This one I was like, no, I'm not gonna see that. But the trailer came up and I was like, okay, there's some people in it that I like. I'll watch the trailer, and I was like, all right, I'm sold. That was great.
Yeah.
And I think it was a really good trailer for the movie. Like, to me, I wasn't necessarily, I mean, I guess, yeah, it does set you up to think it's a slasher movie, but for the most part of the movie, it's making it seem like it's a slasher movie.
Yeah.
So I think it was appropriate.
Yeah.
And it's not for that reason that I think that I was like, I don't know, like disappointed that there wasn't a killer. I just, other than that joke with Pete Davidson, I think it could have been more interesting if there was.
Yeah. If one of the girls was actually a killer.
Or if it was Connor O'Malley. He shows up with like the yellow eyes that he has.
His Howard Schultz for president. He's just like covered in like
blood and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. It's like I think of it in my head as like it's slasher Wendy's. Wendy's as a slasher.
Yeah.
Film or whatever.
No, I like that.
And then Nope was great. That was even I actually did put it at an 8 with my initial review, and then I bumped it to a 7. I could go back and I could bring it back up to an 8 again. I don't know. So I'm like, that one's even closer, but I really, really liked Nope a lot. I said personally my favorite Jordan Peele movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved Daniel Kaluuya's character.
Yeah.
And like his, relationship with his sister and everything. I love that it turned into almost like a heist movie. It had a heist movie feel where they get the team together. They get Angel, and then the director guy with, what was his name? Antlers Holst is that director's name.
Yeah. A very like the super pretentious like Carson Clay from Beans Holiday type of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with like a Tom Waits voice.
Yeah, yeah.
But like a smooth Tom Waits, because he had like a really cool voice.
Yeah, it's almost like they treated it in the studio like they really boosted like the lows in his voice to like have that sort of radio announcer type deepness to it.
Yeah, I wondered if they did too. Or if that was just his voice. I don't know.
Well, that was he's like, Jordan Peele was like, damn, your voice is cool. I don't have a character for you yet, but hold on, I'll find something.
So yeah, that final act where they're like setting up the trap, and the whole way that played out with the TMZ guy showing up, and then all the little hitches that happen, the using the wacky, they had names for them. They called them what they're actually called, but I forgot.
Oh,
but
like the wacky inflatable
waving
arm.
Yeah, using those as like to
Tube
track
Man?
Tube Men or something.
Tall boy.
Maybe that was it.
On the Wikipedia it says
something
a
like
tube
that.
man, sky dancer, air dancer, inflatable man,
I think
and
Sky
originally
Dancer
called the tall boy.
is
Okay.
what I remember them saying in the movie.
Okay.
But yeah, using that to like track its movement or whatever was really cool. That crazy like I really appreciate when aliens in movies, like the creature, not aliens, because it's like, oh, it's not actually a UFO. It's,
Yeah.
But I really appreciate when alien creatures look alien and not just like humanoid. It's like, because like you see it, it has a good amount of screen time at the end of the movie, but it's still really hard to conceptualize like what that thing looks like. And I really liked that it was, because that's like what aliens are probably like, is hard to comprehend because they are not from Earth. So They'd be different.
Yeah, this is another one that we saw in theaters, and I think we saw it. We didn't see it in IMAX, but it was one of those like super duper surround sound type things where like our seats vibrated and shit. And I will say, in that early, like the first, I guess, first act, it was terrifying. I was pretty creeped out by like the way that the creature like moved.
Yeah, you just see it like dart in between clouds, and it just comes.
Yeah, no,
you'd hear like a whoom, really quick.
Yeah, it was very effective.
That would be cool.
Like especially the reveal, because like Angel sets up all the cameras, and he calls him, and like he's like, "Hey, I'm watching these security cameras. Have you seen that cloud that hasn't moved in like 3 days?" And that like. It sent shivers down my spine because it's like that idea is just like so creepy to me. Just like something completely innocuous that you wouldn't even notice until it's pointed out to you, and you're like, "Yeah, that cloud hasn't moved," and it's like that's where it's been hiding in plain sight the whole time.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I liked that. While I was saying like the design of it is very alien and out of this world. I also like that, you know, in opposite side of that it's just like, okay, but it is just an animal. And like the way that mostly like Daniel Kaluuya treats it is he's like, okay, I know animals. I know how to work with them. So treat it like an animal. And I like that, you know, while it is alien, it's still like there's some kind of like instinctual laws of nature that it still has to follow, where it's like, you know, don't look it in the eyes, like the, you know, the thing with the chimp on the TV show and all the that shit. And you know, when he's like, I got like super into the ending when he does like the, you know, the eye thing with the sister, and then he just like he just looks it like right in, I guess it's eye, as it's like going towards him. It's like that it's like the ribbony like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh thing. I was like, I don't know, I was so fucking into the ending of that movie. It was great. And then you get the fucking Akira slide. I was like, hell yeah.
Is that with the motorcycle?
Yeah, it's a very I instantly I was like, he just did the Akira slide. And then Cleo was like, what? And I'm like, she's like, are you sure? And I was like 1,000%. If you ever see that shot in a movie, it is a reference to Akira. And then I Googled the shot to show her. And then like one of the top results was somebody interviewing Jordan Peele. And they were like, you got to do the Akira slide. And then he just, he's like, so the Akira slide in the movie. And then Jordan Peele just starts like laughing, and he's like, I got to do it. I got to do this. I got to do the shot. He's like so excited about it. But yeah, overall, like really, really fun. Like I said, it's just 7 or 8. It's really close to me.
I think for me, what kind of kept me from being like, this movie is like amazing. I think some of the ideas are a little not fully formed. I think he has a lot of cool ideas that are presented that, I don't know, sometimes like the stuff with Gordy's home. I thought that was like, okay, it was like the alien coming out, like out of the cloud. I think the Gordy's home stuff was like a notch above that in terms of like unsettling, like scary, with like, because like the movie starts out that way, like you just hear like like squelching of this monkey like killing somebody. And I think maybe in like Jordan Peele's like 3-hour long cut of this movie, maybe there's more of it. But I feel like with Get Out and Us, all of his movies sort of have that element to it where there's just, I don't know, there's something about it that's like not fully fleshed out that would keep it from being like a 10 out of 10. I think Nope is like the closest that he comes to for me in terms of like achieving that like
Okay.
elevated horror / like social commentary stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of looking for that at first, because that is kind of what he's known for after like the social commentary. But then after like a half an hour, I just stopped looking for it, and I was just like enjoying the movie.
Yeah,
and I think that.
Yeah,
that
and I will
helped me.
say, this movie was, I would say, the lightest on that kind of
For
stuff.
sure. The only thing
which
is
is totally
like,
fine.
is like, it's more about like not necessarily like people social commentary, but like I guess animals used in film and television. Even the whole conceit of capturing the alien on camera is like their main goal.
Oh yeah,
and you know
Right.
it all ties into animal use and abuse and all that. But yeah, and oh my god, no, the fucking like I feel like the part where you see it like digesting the people or whatever.
I was wondering, like when Steven Yeun is like he has all the people out there and he's like, all right, check it out, and then like it doesn't work and it just sucks all of them up.
That was that like I instantly I was like, I definitely want to watch that movie again. Like, but I'm dreading that. Like, that was traumatizing. It's so fucked. And then you just like after that, it's like flying around, and you see it like from the like the people on the ground's perspective, the M and Angel, and you hear it like flying to and fro, and the screams of the people like coming and going with it. And then at a point, you just hear like it stop. Their screams just stop. And then that's when it like rains down. Like,
oh yeah,
on the house
yeah.
and stuff.
Well, I went from two different versions of oh shit.
Yeah.
Because when it sucked all of them up, I was like, oh shit, like scared, terrifying. This is awful. And then when it squelches and it just rains blood on the house, I was like laughing, like oh shit, like that. It was like two the same reaction, slightly different. Which then that puts in context the opening sequence too, because when Keith David, when he like gets hit by like a like a dime, it was like a
nickel
like
or
a
something
coin.
like that. Yeah.
I was like, is that a plane? Like, because
That's
I
what
thought it was
they
like
say.
debris from a plane crash or something.
That's what it says like on the news report or something like that.
But it's like, even then, if you listen, you can hear people screaming. Like,
Oh
in that,
shit! Really?
I was like, are we about to see like people falling from the sky? But if you listen really closely at the beginning, you can hear like very faintly like people yelling, and then it's like, no, this is this thing digesting, and like the inorganic material falls out, and that's what hits his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch it again. You'll hear like very faintly. You'll hear people screaming.
Damn. That's cool. Yeah. This movie coupled with, I don't remember if I talked about this on the show, but I know I told you my experience with the chimps at the zoo a few weeks ago.
No.
I'm pretty sure. I thought I did. Well, they like
maybe.
I'll try to keep it brief then. But we were at John Ball Zoo a few weeks ago, and we were like near the chimpanzee enclosure, and we just hear them start screaming, just screaming. Okay. And then so we walk over there, and a raccoon had fallen into their
You did, I remember.
Okay, yeah. And
did they kill it?
I don't know.
You didn't stick around long enough to see.
No, I left because nobody was doing anything. And I was like, fuck this. Like, none of the zookeepers are doing anything. I'm like, I don't want to see a fucking raccoon get killed. This is fucking stupid. You guys should be doing... I was fucking pissed. I was really debating, like, finding some, like, pebbles to throw at the chimps in hopes that the zookeepers would, like, yell at me to stop, and then I could be like, hey, do something about this then. Because there's a part where like the raccoon had like gone under these steps and the chimps couldn't like reach it, so then one of them goes and rips a branch off a tree and like pulls the leaves off of it and starts like poking the hole, and I was like, okay, fuck this. I was like, fuck chimps, they suck.
Yeah, no, I remember this now because I think I told you the story about like them closing the zoo because they were like, one of the chimps had a miscarriage. And then what they were actually doing was that they had taken the baby chimp and were like ripping it apart and throwing it around. Yeah. No, chimps are like terrifying.
Yeah.
Like did you read much about like the Gordy's home, like what it was based on?
I was aware of it. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. Story.
Because I read about it. It's like I think the lady did survive, but like the monkey like ate her face off. Like I think she lost an eye.
Yeah, she was blind. Because I did read it after she was blinded, and like basically like what happened to the one character in the movie, his like co-star who who ended up getting eaten by an alien. Maybe the animals aren't the problem. Maybe it's you being friends with Steven Yeun.
Ricky Park. Like that's where you went wrong, associating yourself with this guy.
Yeah.
And it was funny that he was like obviously traumatized by it, but his way of coping was just like collecting as much memorabilia about it as humanly possible.
Yeah, that was weird.
It's like, oh yeah, no, they parodied it on SNL and everything. It was great.
Yeah, and then it like yeah. It's clearly not okay, but
right.
Yeah, and like he thinks
that
he has
bag.
some like he thinks he has like some connection to the alien because he had a connection with the monkey, but if you pay attention to like I guess a theme or like a recurring element I'll say of the movie is the only reason the monkey didn't kill him is because he didn't look it in the eyes.
Yeah.
And because it was like through that tablecloth or whatever.
Right.
But he
that
was
was brutal
some,
too
like,
when he like went to
do
that and they just cap him.
I know, even that, like, even after like all my negative feelings, that still kind of made me sad.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, maybe chimps should just not be in captivity if they're mauling people and stuff.
Yeah.
Even though I hate them, but if they were where they're supposed to be, maybe it'd be more okay, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, I probably brought it up last time too, but like I've read stories about like monkeys in other countries causing problems. Like I think someone like in a city like killed a monkey, and like the tribe of monkeys that like had a member of theirs killed, like went into town and like started killing pets and like threw a baby off of like a balcony. Like no, they were like exacting their revenge. Like I think in a lot of those countries where they're not in captivity, monkeys are considered like a nuisance.
Yeah, I know, like in Egypt and they're like they will just run up and like steal
take shit.
Yeah, just because.
And sometimes it's like babies or like they'll just like grab a baby and just throw it as far as they can. Like just like I don't know. I think there's like cute videos of monkeys and that's fine, but
throwing
it's like
babies.
you gotta keep you gotta keep that in the back of your mind. That's like, no, these guys are bastards.
Yeah, they are.
Like,
but yeah. Anyways, great, good, really good stuff. Both of those new ones. And I've also been continuing my dive into hell in the Hellraiser series, which pretty much after the second one, that's all it is. I don't know. The third one had some fun to it. They like, I actually wrote like a really long review for that one, and I was not expecting to, but it's weird where they like separate. Pinhead is kind of like split in two, as like one is like the id and one is the ego kind of thing, sort of, and like the goal is to reunite them because the id one is like just he's more like a Freddy Krueger, and it's really weird, like he's like laughing and like really relishing in it, whereas Pinhead is more typically almost neutral about it, and it's very weird, but there was still some fun like early 90s schlock to it, I guess. There's some fucking silly ass Cenobites in it. Like there's one that because in like all the later ones, like it's basically Pinhead, and then at some point in the movie he turns other people into Cenobites, and then it ends with like a team of Cenobites that he has made. And there's a part where he just massacres an entire club full of people, and the DJ, you see him like get like CDs like embedded in his head, so then he's like becomes a CD Cenobite with like CDs.
Oh my god.
And his mouth is like a disc drive that like shoots out CDs. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's like if you made a porn parody of Videodrome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah. So that one was fun. It was bad, but it was fun. But then number 4, it's like it's Darren Aronofsky's The Fountain meets Hellraiser, because it's like it starts on this spaceship like 150 years in the future or whatever, and there's this dude who like has a robot do the box.
Oh, the puzzle.
The lament configuration. And it's kind of funny because like it solves. This is like the opening of the movie. It like solves it, and then the robot like looks at the camera, and then it just explodes. I guess because they can't flay it, so they just explode it.
That rules.
And then the guy gets like arrested because like I don't know, he's doing something illegal for space cops or whatever.
Sure.
And then he's like, "Oh, can I tell you the story of my family and like why I'm doing this?" And it's like basically he is like the descendant of this like French dude called Le Marchand, because in the book The Hellbound Heart, it's called the Le Marchand configuration is the name of the box.
Okay.
And this guy's like an old like French toy maker, and he makes it, and then this like aristocrat buys it and like uses it as, I wasn't sure like exactly how it turns it from like this toy made by like an innocent toy maker becomes what it is,
like a perverted Rubik's cube.
Yeah, but the guy like starts like incorporating it into his like cult demonic summoning things. And it basically like he tells the story about him and how he tried to like stop it, and then but then he's killed his ancestor, the toy maker. And then and also Adam Scott is in it.
Yeah, I saw. That was the most curious part of your Letterboxd review. I was like, French Adam Scott. How old is he in this?
I think I checked. He's probably like 22. And it said that
I forget how old he is.
Yeah, he's like close to 50, I think now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this was his first like major film role, I guess.
Interesting.
And he's like the assistant to the French aristocrat that like takes the box, but then he kills the aristocrat, and then he's like, it's him and this like demon chick, not a Cenobite, but it's like him and this demon chick are kind of like in control of it for like basically until I think it's like the 80s or 90s. I think it's either supposed to be current to when the movie came out or like right before the first movie. I'm not sure. It doesn't really address the stuff in the first two movies as like, was that before or after this?
Yeah.
But anyways, there's the French period. That guy tries to stop it and dies, and then the one in like contemporary time tries to stop it and dies, and then you're back to like the future time, the space time, and he's like, yeah, so now I'm here and I'm trying to build this thing to stop him once and for all. Like it's an anti configuration, an anti box. It's supposed to like seal the gateway to hell permanently. And but yeah, I don't know, it's just really just a fucking mess of a movie. It's the multiple timeline thing is fucking wild. I like that like most movie franchises, you need to wait until like you get into the double digits to get the space movie, but this one does it on number 4. You get the space movie, I was gonna say, and the period piece.
Yeah, that's wild.
And
I wonder how much of this is actually based on Clive Barker's novels.
I'd be surprised if any of this one was.
Yeah.
There's these like these two security guards who like, I'm like, is this like a weird like there's just a part where they're having small talk and he's like, oh, so I was talking with blah blah blah, and he's like, would you have sex with a chick that used to be a guy? And then he's like a trans person or something like that. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess so if he's cut. And then he's like, and then the other guy's like, yeah. And like that's their conversation. I'm like, okay, all right. So like some little pro trans stuff in this like,
I guess
90s horror movie.
Well, I mean, I will say
then they do get mutilated and turned into Cenobites, so maybe that's like the punishment for.
It's like, oh yeah, that's like the kinkiest shit. Is like, okay, yeah, now that's what elevates you into Cenobite territory.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say, I think these movies have a very strong, like LGBTQ like connection.
Yeah,
I think
something like with the Cenobites being kind of like
they're like androgynous, genderless,
yeah,
kind of like pro kink BDSM, but it's like, like, are you just kind of forgiving the part where they kill anybody that like partakes in their shit?
Yeah,
but oh
yeah.
Jesus, there's more of these.
Yep, I'm like,
oh.
That one, I will say that one does end with the guy reveals that like the entire spaceship they're on is the anti configuration machine, and like it folds into a cube at the end and explodes Pinhead and the other Cenobites. So like I don't know. I guess you get Pinhead in space, but it's like, yeah, it was fucking garbage. But I will say I'm like a half hour into the next one, number 5, Inferno, and so far
Yeah.
a huge step up from the last two, I will say.
Okay.
I still got an hour left, so it could drop, but it's funny. It's another genre that a lot of horror sequels don't go into is like a noir detective story, but that's what this one is, because it's like follows a police officer, and he's like doing the sort of like, I always hated Tuesdays. They remind me of da-da-da-da, like that kind of narration. Alone in the Dark, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, by no means like a great horror movie, but compared to the last two, so far a big step up. So
okay.
So we'll see.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm roughly
shit.
halfway through them.
In Hellraiser Hellseeker, I think Dean Winters is the lead.
Oh, okay.
Who I only know him as the guy from 30 Rock. With Liz Lemon's idiot boyfriend.
Yeah, he's Mayhem too, from those insurance commercials. And he's in Battle Creek.
Oh. Hellraiser Deader is 2005.
I'm excited for that one purely based on the title, because it just sounds like such a dumb title. And then Hellworld I'm excited for too, because it's video game Hellraiser. It's like Hellworld is like VR something, so I'm sure it's gonna be terrible.
You know, kudos to Doug Bradley for being in all of these.
Yeah. He wasn't in the last two before the newest one. There was Hellraiser
Revelations and Judgment.
Yeah, that's what they're
Yeah, well, if you're on Letterboxd, look at Hellraiser Revelations, and the cover photo for it. It looks like the guy who's in that one. I only know it as like a reaction gif, but he looks like the guy who's like, "Are we the baddies?"
Oh, David Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's from like Mitchell and Webb. Yeah.
Yeah, but it looks like it's like, oh, is that like chubby Pinhead? He's kind of got like fat cheeks.
I might have mentioned this, but I watched the trailers for Revelations and Judgment just because I knew it was different Pinhead guys, and I just wanted to see what they look like. And holy shit, they look like they look like they have the budget of like our videos. Like,
Oh no.
yikes. Those ones
Damn.
are probably the ones I am dreading the most, and they're the last two I have to watch.
Yeah, they look like the most schlocky,
Holy fuck.
like worst ones.
Revelations has a 1.1 on Letterboxd. That is low.
Oh, that's not good.
Damn. I want to see what. Let's see in comparison. Let's see what Bloodline, the one that I thought was the worst one so far. That has a 2.4.
Okay.
So, oh man, if they get that much worse. I'm gonna like become a Cenobite when I finish this series because
Yeah, that's-
I've like
that's
there
the
are no
curse.
more earthly like pleasures to be had.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's a long dive into what I've been watching, I guess.
Nice.
So, damn.
I'm excited for a cup pull. It's been a while.
I know. I was thinking that too. Like, for I guess not for the listeners, because but yeah, for us. Well, for us, this was our last cup pull too. Our most recent cup pull was Hard 8, but that was like
Yeah.
a month ago for us. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's do
And it's Boogie Nights.
it. I like to try to shake them out so they just fall out. Ooh. Okay. From 2007, directed by Julian Schnabel, we'll be watching The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. Haven't seen this one in a while, but I remember liking it quite a bit. It is on Pluto for free.
Nice.
And then for rent on all the usuals: Apple TV, YouTube, Amazon. So watch that on any of those or whatever before next week's episode if you don't want to be spoiled for The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. These episodes sorry, come out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST on Twitch and YouTube in video form, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more in podcast form.
We're on Amazon Music now too. I just filled that out and we've been verified.
Hell yeah. Sweet.
So whoever listens on Amazon Podcasts, we're there now.
Sweet. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I got, because like with the Duds email, I'll get emails that are like, come claim your podcast on so-and-so.podcast. Whatever. And usually it's like you claim it, but then it's like they want money to tell you how they can help you advertise or whatever bullshit. So I'm very skeptical of it. But yeah, no, we're on Amazon Music now.
Nice. Sweet. And we also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. So follow there if you like. Give a listen, give a like, whatever. That's that about does us. And I'm trying to think of.
Yeah, you found this movie pretty devoid of anything, so.
No, I got something. I'm just trying to think of what he says. I mean, I gotta go with, I'm your crap shooting.
Yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman. Come on, old timer. I don't know. I was just trying to think of something he says, but yeah, that guy. That's who I am. And my name's TJ, aka Jay's Project Cheese, and with me as always.
As always, I am your homeless wayward son bum sitting outside of a diner, Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I guess that was me doing my bye-bye in kind of a John C. Reilly voice.
John C. Reilly.